Okay, so you were kidding. You don't actually think Jeremy Jordan has to come out and, like, kiss your hand and be like, thank you so much for coming to my show.
Kiss my hand? When did I say anything about kiss my hand?
Well, we're going to talk about all this and more on this week's From the Wings.
Hi, I'm Reba Hervis, Artistic Director at Overshadowed Theatrical Productions. Welcome to this week's episode, From the Wings. Thank you for being here again,
Absolutely.
my lovely co-host, Rebecca Leland. And also, I have a guest visitor today, Leah Johansson. So, Leah has been with us since how old were you your very first time?
I was 15.
Was that I'll Be Seeing You?
It was.
Oh,
yeah.
super fun.
Yes.
And what brought you out to that particular production?
Tara got a big group of us to audition.
Okay,
so,
that's pretty
yeah,
awesome.
friends.
So, yeah. Well, since that time, she's been in several musicals,
Yes.
probably almost too many to name off the top of our heads. But then she also does choreography for our summer camp, as well as helping out with other things from time to time. So thank you so much for being here. Since she's a little bit more grown up than 15 these days, she has started going to New York a lot and seeing a lot of Broadway plays. How many times did you go to New York this year?
3 times.
3 times. And over the course of that, how many shows did you see?
5 or 6? I think in total it was like we saw 10. We went to
Productions.
Yes, but
Wow.
we repeated shows multiple times.
So
So.
tell us about that. Which shows did you repeat with Save the Best for last? So did you see
my
anything?
best for last?
No, the one you've seen the
Oh.
most.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we saw Water for Elephants twice, and then I saw Back to the Future and The Notebook.
Twice?
No, just once.
Okay.
Sadly, I would love
Okay.
to see that again.
Yeah.
Notebook we only saw once, and then Great Gatsby we only saw once,
Okay.
and then
And then she saw this one. How many
I
times?
saw The Outsiders 5 times.
No, you did not. I thought it was 3.
Oh, really? No, there were times she was there that she saw it.
5 times
Yeah.
over 2 times.
Over
Three.
3 trips.
Yeah.
The last time she was there, what time did you get in line?
4:43.
So
AM.
this is
Yes,
in the morning,
in the
not in the
morning.
afternoon. And why did you get in line that early?
I wanted the Pony Boy seat.
Which explain to our
Yes.
audience what that means.
So during the opening number of this musical, the lead actor enters before the show starts, and he comes down the aisle and uses this one seat in the front row to climb up onto the stage, where he sits. And then during the opening number, then he actually comes down off the stage and sits in that seat and like sings to the people around
Wow.
him. So they sell that seat, but you obviously can't be in it during the whole
So
opening
you
Right.
missed the
number.
first opening number.
You stand in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
With anybody that is important?
No, you're just like at
so,
the back of the
so
orchestra.
you paid how much to not see the whole show?
I
to
saw
sit-
the whole show.
The whole from the
The view
back.
from the back is great.
And where are you
But
getting these
explain-
tickets? Like, explain where you're
Yes,
getting, because you're not paying
yes.
like $200 for the front row seat.
No. The seat, so the Pony Boy seat is $79.
Wow.
For context, the seat next to the Pony Boy seat is $350.
Oh
To
my
$420,
goodness. And
depending
you
on
just
the
have
day.
to wait for 10 minutes.
So did you do it for the price?
7 minutes.
7
yes.
minutes.
So you liked it. It wasn't because the seat felt warm from Pony Boy's butt.
We knew you were going to go there.
That was not the vision, no.
Okay. All right, good. Because I was a little afraid of that.
Yeah, no, I'm not quite that
Same
obsessed
girl.
at this point. So, no, it's the price because they sell it as one of the rush tickets. So
Okay.
if you buy them at the box office when they open at 10, they have
Wow.
a set amount of tickets. So the seats that are over a little bit are $30.
Okay.
And then that one, because it is not as obstructed,
Yes,
is
more.
$79.
Wow.
I want the $350 seat.
She goes, I'll sit there and I'll wait
I
for
would
you.
also
Yeah.
love that.
I want to sit
But-
there so that Pony Boy sings to me.
Yes,
Yes,
he
instead of
does.
never even like
I know.
coming in contact. Well,
Well,
anyway,
you go.
the reason we want Leah to be a guest and talk to us today is because we have found that we have a vast difference, Rebecca and I, and when we brought other people, and even with each other for what plays we like and what's going on in New York right now. But then if you put into context the younger audiences that are starting to go these days and what they're looking for, it's even different because you guys, I think, look for one thing that is not important to me at all. And I think that is so interesting for where our audience might be in this particular time in their lives.
Yeah.
So why Outsiders? And we'll tell you just how we think about it, right? First, Rebecca liked it a lot more than I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought that the staging was great. I loved the artistic vision with some of the things that the director did. I could not understand what they were saying,
Yeah.
and the dialect on some of it was just hard for me. And I'm like, I don't feel anything, because if I'm missing so much of this, then it doesn't mean anything to me. And I think that was my biggest complaint, wasn't it? If we go back,
you couldn't hear it.
And I also think that because both of you have an acquaintance-ish, right? You know somebody who used to live in this area that was involved with CYT, which you both have been involved with. I think it also had a little bit of a draw because of that.
He then went to Broadway and he was in,
Right.
Outsiders.
But other than that, I think you also liked it more than I did.
Yeah, but even though I don't think it's even the hearing, because there were times where I couldn't really understand them either, but I don't mind that. Like, everything that was going on, I don't need to know every word you're saying as long as you're emoting.
Yes.
So for me, I loved the emotion, I loved the energy, I loved the dance.
Yeah.
Even if I did lose a couple of the words here and there, it wasn't that big for me.
Yeah.
I was enjoying kind of following whatever story they were giving. So what about you? What would you say?
Well, I think we also read the book before seeing it, so we were in tune with the plot more probably.
Yeah.
I didn't notice really missing some of the lyrics. When I went back and listened to the cast recording, there were things where I was like, I have no idea what he's saying.
Yes.
But when I was watching the show,
Yes.
I didn't actually notice that happening.
Yeah, right, because
So-
it's just so immersive.
Yeah. You're kind of just going with the flow of
Yes.
it. So
Yeah, the excitement.
So when it's all said and done, what do you think is the reason you pick the different shows that you go to? Like, why Outsiders 5 times?
So initially when we went to the show, it was because we knew somebody in it. So I'd heard about it that way. I didn't know anything about it going into that. Read the book in preparation of seeing the show. And then, I do really think it's a lot of the emotions of the show. At intermission, I went with a couple of my best friends, and we felt like so connected to it.
Yeah.
And all of us were saying at intermission the first time, we have to come back and see it again.
Wow,
Let's come
it
back
wasn't
on
even
Friday.
done.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was it's so good.
You're like giddy about it because you're feeling the emotions even now that the show gave you.
So,
wow.
and that was something, seeing it the second time, we all were kind of thinking, oh, it won't be as good. We've already seen it. We know what to expect. And it was better the second time.
Wow.
Like, we were so still invested.
Why
So,
do you think it was better the second time?
I mean, just because, well, okay, I wouldn't say better necessarily. It was as good
Just
the
as
second
good.
time.
Yes.
So,
Okay, so are you sitting there thinking, oh, I just, like, he looked at me. Like I know he knows I'm in the audience, and he's like, I mean, is there a little giddiness with
that is something about those $30 rush seats, is that you are right there. Like, you are 6 feet from the stage.
Wow.
So that is something interesting that I've not experienced before, where you feel more a part of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely more immersive.
Yeah.
And like, oh wow, I'm part of this. You know,
Yeah.
you're getting gravel thrown on you.
I was gonna
from
say
the
when they're
stage.
kicking, yeah.
Yeah, it's all over. You feel the rain when it's raining.
Wow.
So I think that also impacted it. I don't know what the experience would have been like sitting farther back. I don't really want
We
to
were
sit.
like in a balcony or something.
We were definitely in a
We were
balcony.
not close.
Yes.
No water. Yeah.
Yes. And I have watched it from standing room, which is the back of the orchestra.
Wow.
And I think that the view is better, but I definitely miss that kind of connective feeling of not even just like with, oh, I'm making eye contact, but you're just being part
So
of
close.
that motion and
Yeah.
energy.
Like seeing the
So,
sweat on their brow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So do you think it has anything to do with the story, because it's about these young people who the class difference and the greasers against the
Socials.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that as a young person and just having peer pressure that's part of why?
Or do you think it's the
hits, Or do
emotions?
you what is it?
I think that there definitely are themes that appeal more to the younger audiences, because I've had this discussion with some other like more adults or older people that have read the book or watched it and say, I don't feel anything about it. Like, I didn't feel any impact personally.
Yeah.
So I think that is the message of being an outsider and feeling like an outsider even within your own groups appeals definitely to the younger generations / people that are struggling with more insecurities. And as you get older, those the same themes don't necessarily apply as much.
Yeah, you're in a different stage. I love that. When you think of your patrons, like, because here at Overshadowed, our patrons tend to be an older generation.
Yeah.
When you think of the patrons, what do you think they're coming to see?
I think that a lot of them like to come to see things that are well known, that are things that they're familiar with, maybe because there was a movie, and then now this production has been made about it or from it, and so there's something that they can connect to.
Interesting.
I find that as far as a lot of our audiences go, when I introduce something new, maybe something I wrote, maybe just something new, that a lot of times they'll go, oh, I've never heard of that, or I don't want to go, and then they'll just turn me off. And so I think there has to be something that some of the older generation has to connect to in order to make it be something that they're interested in coming to see.
And I would say the younger generation, if it's new, it actually excites us. Like, we're like, hey, that's really fun, especially has a little quirk in it. We're more likely to see that than something that's like, oh, well, White Christmas, I already saw that. Like, I already saw the movie, why would I want to go see that on stage?
Right, right. And I do get a little bit of that. Like, I remember the second time or the third time that we did It's a Wonderful Life, we tend to repeat our Christmas plays. We're on a 7-year rotation. And I think the second or third time I did It's a Wonderful Life, there was always a group that he brought his whole workplace every year for Christmas, and he would buy like 40 or 50 tickets, and when we announced that one, he goes, well, we've already seen that a couple of times, and so they stopped coming, and they have never come back since.
Oh, wow.
So I think also when you lose somebody's interest, it's also really hard to keep it going, and I think that even happens on Broadway. Recently a show was only open for like 18 performances, and then it just closed, swept away, right? Is that the one? Yeah.
Wow.
And I didn't hear why. Do you know why?
I don't know. Yeah, there were actually two, Tammy Faye and Swept Away. They played for
both.
And then just.
I was interested in Tammy Faye only because I thought it would be interesting because of the Christian bent on it to see how it would work out for me. Yeah. But I wasn't interested in seeing it
because of
for me,
else.
Not an artistic director.
Yes.
But both of them closed right away.
Wow.
And really, from what I've heard, Broadway is booming right now. So they're breaking records. They had the biggest Thanksgiving week that they've had in years.
I don't know that.
Interesting. I didn't see that.
And then these two shows.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's competition
or what the reason
is. I think it used to be that the older people who wanted the classics and wanted all of this stuff, I think they used to run Broadway. And it used to be that they were the people that were making Broadway fresh. I think that then we were in a little bit of a slump, COVID, whatever, and people stopped going to the theater, nothing was interesting them, whatever. And now I think the younger audiences are the ones who are going to make Broadway come alive again.
I agree. But I think they're coming because of the people. I think they're coming because of the actors, the actresses, and the PR. Well, like, if you have good PR, we'll come to a show.
I think that PR is making a huge difference.
And the way that you produce and the way that you grab people's attention.
I think Broadway's doing edgier things. Like, they're doing things that about, homosexuality and cross-dressing. And, I mean, they're doing things that are edgier than the classics would have done.
Yeah.
But they're also doing things that really appeal to girls.
I think it's also interesting to have like social media influencers that are in shows. Because that's something I've noticed too, like people that are just in the ensemble that are on TikTok and Instagram, and so then people are going to shows just to see those.
Because you almost feel like your friend is in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost in real life, like, okay, I'm gonna see your show because you're my friend.
Yeah.
And if you follow someone on TikTok and they're like, oh, they were low numbers, you started following them, then they blew up. You feel like you know them. So then you go and like, oh my gosh, my bestie, and they're like in the back, but they're still in it, and you have that again connection. It's so true.
So what do you make? So this is something that I just do not do. And you stage door every time, right?
Yes.
I am so scared to stage door.
Really?
And I'm also not a person that fawns over people. I just don't, which is why me wanting to see Sutton Foster is kind of a big deal, because I don't really do that. I don't really care if I have people's autograph or whatever. But I also think that there's a little bit of insecurity with me that I'm like, wow, how do I even go ask
What would you be scared about? They come out the door, and what do you do?
I told you I'm a 9, so I'm insecure and I'm an introvert. Even though you guys, I know that you're like, how is that possible? But I really am. So when you take me out of my everyday comfort level, then I'm like, well.
And I guess it's all about fawning. Like, that's the point of stage dooring, is not for you to be there and be like, hi.
Right.
You're supposed to be a little.
No, baby. Honey. Hug me. I suffer.
To do that, and that's
Yeah.
just not me. Although I
Yeah.
could do it for Sutton. So, but why is it so easy? Like, what do you do? What is it that you want when you do that?
I was thinking about this because I feel like on the surface, you know, you're doing it for the actors. You want to talk to them and congratulate them and, you know, tell them what you thought and like how great they were. But I feel like the bigger appeal is that people want to feel like the actors know them.
Yeah.
So it's like your moment to be at the stage door and be like, oh, they talked to me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we have a connection.
Yes.
I knew he was looking at me in the audience. I
Exactly.
knew he was.
Or even her, you know, like depending on like the show. Like I remember I saw Shrek the musical like when it was on Netflix like 20 million times, and then Cinderella came to Chicago Broadway, and Mama, who was in Cinderella? One of the stepsisters was in Shrek the musical, but she was like a small character, and I remember just like fawning over her and being like, I saw you on Netflix, and she's like, thank you, you know. So it's also not, I mean, just the guys, but also like just seeing them, and I love the idea of it being seen and seeing them and having the real life connection, which you don't like. You don't want the real life. You said you stay on stage.
Yes.
I'll stay in my seat.
Except for Sutton. Sutton, call me.
But Sutton did not come out.
Yeah.
So that's not a thing. You're like I'm good. I went for the show and now I'm done.
Yeah.
But we go for the show and then the connect afterward because it's fun to have that.
Yes. I think there's also, I mean, if they're a bigger name, then there's that, oh, wow, I met.
And to have them
Bill
sign
Wood.
it, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And to have it on a little Instagram,
Exactly.
like, hey, look who I met.
Yes.
Who is like? Do you have the? What's your best stage door story? Do you have any fun?
I don't know, see, because we were really excited to see Jeremy Jordan
Yes.
after Gatsby.
Yes.
But that was a very kind of.
Did he come out?
He did, yeah.
What did he do?
He, the vibe was just kind of, this is their job. They're not. They're here for work.
Yeah.
They will get through the line as quickly as
know, and
possible.
it's
Not everyone's like that though.
But
No.
I know, but I think that for me, I don't want to know that. Like,
Yeah.
so I told you that even Sutton not coming out and
Yeah.
them telling us that she
Yeah.
never comes out, I don't like it because the only reason they're famous is because as an audience, we're making them that way.
I love that. I'm making you famous. You come out and you fake loving to see
I
me.
feel like if they
That is
they
so
owe it.
funny.
I mean, not all the time.
Yeah.
Not all the time. Like, I'm not gonna be mad that she, like, if she came out just sometimes,
Yeah,
it would be
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But to hear that she never
Yeah.
comes out, I'm like,
But do they sign up for that? Like, is that like whenever you are handed a role, are you signing up to stage door?
no, I don't think they put it in your contract. But I think that it's
The audience expects it.
a lot of people do it, right?
A lot of people
90%.
do.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
'Cause that was,
Yeah.
but most stage dooring, like, would you say that was like the one that he kind of snubbed you? Because I think most of them, they're kind of very
you didn't say
kind.
snubbed
No,
you.
no,
He just,
no. Well,
yeah.
see, that's the thing is I thought of stage doors as being very high energy and like the screaming fangirls and so most of them were not that way.
Oh.
Outsiders definitely was.
Yeah.
The first couple times. It's
Because
calmed
of the
down.
boys.
That is true, yeah. It has calmed down.
You have something either. I feel like you have something against the boys. I feel like you don't like.
No, I don't like boys.
Yes.
Perfect. And
Yeah. So the Outsiders was the only one that was really like that.
okay, the other one's not so much.
Yeah, no, the others were very chill, which made it. I do kind of relate to that, where it's like, oh, I don't really want to see them in that. Like, I want to idolize the actor and be like, oh, you're so amazing in all the shows. And, But yeah, it was kind of weird to be like, oh,
You're real.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, what do I do with you?
You're real, and you're not really very happy to be here, you know?
Yes,
So,
yes.
Not
I would rather them not come out if they were not going to be happy to be.
It's not like they were mean or anything. It was
Yeah.
just
No.
we saw Outsiders first, and they're stopping to talk to people, and they're
Yes.
taking pictures.
And just so kind, and they love
Yeah,
it. And maybe
yes.
it's also generationally, right?
Yes.
Jeremy Jordan is older
Yep.
than the Boys and Outsiders. So the
Right.
Boys and Outsiders, they have way more of an online
and
influence.
most of the Boys and Outsiders this is their
Breakout,
their
yeah.
breakout.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so
That's
they're
big.
excited to be amongst
Yeah.
the fans and
Yes.
have all
Yeah.
the girls fawning over.
Yep. Yeah.
That's so
We're just saying,
interesting.
go back to that point. Well, I feel like it was that way with Newsies years ago.
Yep.
It's
Yes.
just a different. It was more my kids' age, but
Yeah.
like if Newsies had come to town or we'd gone to Broadway, my daughters would have been doing the same
Yes.
thing because of that energy.
Yeah. And
So there's a place for it.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So, well, do you have anything else that you want to add that will help us decide which shows to go see or not
I'm too
see?
biased. I would just say go see the Outsiders.
You don't need to see anything else, just to go see the Outsiders.
That's right.
What would we tell them? No, I wish Water for Elephants. Now, see, we could have talked about that. I wish
Oh.
Water for Elephants was not closing, because we would say you need to go see that because it's an artistic experience.
I'll give you that. It's artistic.
Oh.
Watch our episode on what we
Yes.
thought about Water for Elephants. Leah's not going to like it.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We'd love to hear what interests you as a theater goer. If you have something that is the reason that you go or do not go, and how we could change your mind to open your eyes to say, no, this is one that you really need to see because of. Until next time, this is just me.
And me.
And me.
Talking to you.
From the wings.
Can I say?
Can I-
So, in honor of our choreographer here,
Yes.
she has given us an alternate ending.
Thanks for giving this to us.
Yes.
Until next time, this is just me.
And me.
And me.
Talking to you from the wings.